welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, with the City of Hampton's Communications and Marketing Department. And today we're going to talk about a disease that really affects almost everyone, almost every family at some point. It's Alzheimer's. And I have two guests, Rona Altschuler, who chairs the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and JoEllen Schaffer and Bayport. You work for Bayport, and they've been a sponsor of this walk for a long time. But before we get to the details of the walk, I want to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's. You have a personal connection that you don't mind sharing. Is that right, Rona?
Absolutely, absolutely. My mom passed away 3 years ago from this horrific disease of Alzheimer's. And, you know, it was a journey that I had never been on before. Learned a lot about Alzheimer's, learned a lot about how to be grateful for every moment you have with those people that you love. Because it took away everything that we take for granted.
Everything that was your mom to
Exactly.
you almost,
yeah. The ability to know who I was, my name, just the simple things, and also the ability for her to do those things that we do every day, like walking, talking, eating, the grooming skills, they were gone, completely gone by this disease, sadly.
It is a tragedy.
Yeah.
Gosh. And JoEllen, you also had a personal experience, right?
Yes, ma'am. I lost my mother in 2006.
And you know, it's so different for everybody. I mean, it can be a fairly quick thing. It can be a very protracted thing. And people lose different motor skills, different memory skills at different rates.
Correct. You have early onset, which is considered 65 and under. If someone gets Alzheimer's that early, usually it progresses much faster. Someone can live as long as 20 years with Alzheimer's. So it's different for every single person because it just depends on where the plaque in the brain is sitting and what it destroys in terms of your functionability. So it's very diverse, but very devastating.
And you, I mean, you really have made this your mission for the past several years in terms of raising awareness, raising money, and getting help to families, not just to the person who's suffering it, but it affects the whole family.
Yeah, I stepped out and to be up front to do this, to chair the walk, because I wanted to be that face that people could maybe ask questions to. And I'm surely not, don't know everything about Alzheimer's disease, but I know enough to direct people to our Alzheimer's Association, which has great staff people that help with family issues. And we have programs that help families, support groups, education groups. If your business or company wants an education class, the association comes in and will give a hands-on to a group of employees at a business. So those are the kind of things I wanted to learn about. It's one of the few diseases that if we don't do it, who will? They don't have a voice anymore.
Yeah.
And so I gave it my, kind of my commitment to my mom as she was dying, that as long as I was able to, I would step up and do something for this disease. In her honor, in the honor of many other people, and that's important to me to keep that going for as long as I can.
And you, and I will say, because you and I met a long time ago, and you've done a lot of fundraising.
Right.
I mean, you're out there. You go for it with gusto, Rona. If you're involved in a cause, I know that cause is going to get some attention. But you worked with Relay for Life for a number of years and grew that event into being a major fundraising event.
Yeah, and I want to see that happen with this. That's obviously cancer is still with us, and it still needs the attention. Alzheimer's kind of reminds me of cancer in the early 60s.
Early days when
people didn't talk about it. They thought you could catch it if you sat next to somebody, and you can't catch Alzheimer's that way. We need to talk about it. That's when I started doing this, chairing this event 6 years ago. I just wanted to bring awareness, and that's how I start. I just bring awareness. Let's talk about it. Let's not lower our voice when we're talking about a loved one with this disease that's taken their mind. It's a disease like any other disease, and we need to talk about it. We need to hey, my mom had Alzheimer's, and speak it clearly. And that was my original mission. And as I've done this for now 6 years, I've learned that the only way we find cures for these devastating diseases, it comes down to raising money. It really does, because research isn't cheap and it's timely. So I kind of now drifted into, yes, awareness is always going to be number one in my heart, and having an event that brings passion to what we're doing and makes people feel like they've spent a few hours on a Saturday morning and it's been worthwhile, and then they'll want to give. I'm not an arm twister about fundraising. I believe in it, but I want people to give because they think it does make a difference, and I know it does, because we do have survivors of diseases like cancer. Right now there are no survivors of Alzheimer's. None whatsoever.
There aren't. There are some drugs that can slow the decline.
For some people.
For some people, right.
But,
but they're, it is like cancer. There's treatments now. And so how do you get to the point where there are treatments?
Well, that's
for
researchers
Alzheimer's?
are working extremely hard all around the world for this disease. And they're sharing their information, which is a very unusual thing in research because we don't have time. This is destroying the healthcare system in terms of financially. Families have to stop their life to take care of loved ones. You can't just leave mom or dad or sister or brother at home alone because you don't know what they'll get into or what they'll do that could be devastating.
Right.
I remember walking in my mother's house early on and all the little Rubbermaid dishes were melted because they were sitting right on top of the range top. And those are things that, they're real. They're real, and it takes families away from their commitment to their healthy family or their jobs or everything else in their life to focus. So we, as an association, we have ability to tell you about support groups and caregiving companies out there that will give you a break.
And people need that.
They do.
People need that so much. Yeah. Did you go through that with your mom, where you needed somebody to talk to?
Yes.
You needed some help.
And the Alzheimer's Association was great. It kicked in, it helped out because she went from 97 until 2006.
That is a pretty darn long time.
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
that's a really long time. My partner's mom was diagnosed, and she lasted for like 15 years. I mean, it was kind of amazing. Whereas, my dad's been recently diagnosed. His mom died of Alzheimer's. I mean, you just never really know what that progression is going to be.
Yeah, or how quick.
How it'll change personalities too. People who are sweet and docile can become really angry and belligerent.
Right.
And that feeling when somebody doesn't recognize you, and maybe that's why there's a little bit of stigma or why it's harder to talk about, because anything that affects the mind is not seen the same as a purely physical disease, I think.
That's true. People just don't know how to handle it. They don't understand when you say, I used to say to my mom, she was stumbling, walking, I'd say, Mom, pick up your feet. She literally didn't understand that command, pick up your feet. And then I had to learn that she didn't understand that command. So I stopped talking to her like that. I stopped expecting her to do things. My dad would say, he was in a wheelchair, hand me the remote control, and she'd hand him the cordless phone. And he'd get angry. And he knew not to get angry, but your instinct.
Can't. And nobody has that much patience.
But nobody can
without some
believe.
help.
Nobody can believe that you can't remember the simple things that we've done our entire life that we learned as a baby. How can you not remember?
I mean, really, when it progresses, they get to the point where they cannot eat. They don't know how to swallow.
Exactly.
If if it gets that far.
Yeah. So it's just we've got to keep talking about it. We've got to say, it's okay. It's okay. We don't need to whisper about it anymore. And that's why we do this walk, because it's a chance to come out and see you're not alone. We had over 1,200, 1,300 people there last year. All have a story. I have friends that walk through this journey with me, and my mom, they didn't have their own family members, but now they feel like they understand the disease better because they were by my side, watching my mom slowly die, actually, is what it is. But we're seeing younger and younger people getting this disease, and that's what's really devastating, to see people the youngest I've met is in their early 40s.
Holy cow.
Way too young. And there are people in their 30s that are getting the disease. That's just, and they can live possibly a really long time like that.
And so part of what we need to research also is how to prevent it. What can you do to prevent it? Because right now we can't do much. Well, can't do anything to really treat it, or reverse it, but we can maybe slow it down sometimes.
But like many other diseases, eat properly, exercise, get plenty of rest, all those things that are good for a healthy living anyway.
Seem to have a correlation.
They're saying do those things, and we should do them anyway. And just all I can say in terms of that is there are people behind the scenes that are trying and are working hard, because they will find an answer to this. As far as research goes, I think the association's still young, the national office is young. This disease, as far as research, is still very young compared to many other diseases that we've been studying for years.
Well, in some ways it's not. I mean, senility has always been there, but I think what's different is we have a name for it, and it is affecting people who are younger. than used to. A lot of people used to die before, of other causes, before they would get to that age. And now it does seem to be progressing into much younger folk than it used
people
to.
die of Alzheimer's, like my mom clearly did. She had no other illnesses, never been sick, in the whole time she was in assisted living. But many people die of, pneumonia is one of the key things because they're not mobile anymore and they're confined more so. So you either die of it or die with it. But Alzheimer's is there if it was a diagnosis. So that's why we do what we do.
Okay. And JoEllen, you've been involved now, actually you were involved before you came to Bayport, but your branch in Bayport is the Fox Hill branch.
Yes.
And you've got a number of co-workers there who are struggling with Alzheimer's in the family.
We have a number of family members that are our co-workers, family members fighting the disease. Our membership, a lot of our members have the disease. Bayport has been one of the biggest sponsors for over 6 years. They've had a team for over 16 years. And yes, we see it from day to day, and I'm very thankful to be with a company that raises money. They're a big sponsor with it to help the Alzheimer's Association. And it's nice to see such a company go out and above and beyond like Bayport does to help out.
And so part of what you're doing now is gathering together these teams.
Correct.
Either individual teams, I know HU Fraternity has approached me. I mean, there's some departments at the city that you've been working with, but just getting more people involved in the walk and in the cause in general.
Sure. I mean, it can be a team of one person. It can be a team of 100 people. We don't have any parameters on it. Or it can be just a person that wants to walk, or maybe it's a moment for them to remember someone, and there's no charge to come out. You just have to register, so we have your name and it's official. We ask people to raise money, of course, because that's part of what we're doing this for.
That's the commitment.
Exactly.
But it is also, as you said, support and being around people who are similarly, who have similar concerns and engagement and
we have a lot of sponsors that come out. We're blessed to have, of course, our regional sponsor is Bayport. We have a lot of other sponsors in this community. Mixed groups, not just all healthcare, but there will be and are a lot of companies that provide care for people with Alzheimer's, from hospice to daycare. And so it's a really great opportunity to walk around if you think you're in this battle or feels like you might be or anything, or just interest, to walk around their sponsor tables and ask questions and get brochures and information, because everybody in one spot makes it easy for the community to see what's going on.
And the community needs those resources. I mean, this is, as you've both said and as I've found, a very hard thing to go through alone. You've got to have either a network of friends or some paid help or assistance from, there's all kinds of things out there, devices and equipment that you might need. I mean, it's a very complicated thing to have to learn on your own.
Absolutely. And how the teams fundraise is up to them. I mean, they're as creative as they want to be. We have been blessed for the 6th year.
You guys are having a raffle, I hear.
A lot of raffles going on. One of the big fundraisers that pretty much all the teams are taking part in is a car. We've had a car given to us for 6 years in a row.
No, I'm going to win it this year. I'm just telling you right now, that car is reserved. You can keep selling tickets. We'll help you raise money, but
positive thinking does help in life. But yeah, all the teams it's Hampton Roads Toyota dealers from both sides of the water. Have 7 dealerships have donated a Toyota Camry 2014 XLE, which for those of you that don't know is leather seats and the sunroof and all the bells and whistles. It's a beautiful car. And so people are buying tickets. They're available through actually Bayport. All their branches are selling tickets, as well as many of our teams. It's just one way that we can bring the disease out into the community. The car shows up. It was at the Pilots baseball games many times this year, in front of restaurants, just wherever the teams want it. But what I like to say is we do this for the community as well as the cause. And we ask for whatever feels right in your heart. To give or to not give. Some people come that first year and don't have a clue what's going on, and they see, and of course we have the opportunity with jugs for donations, so you can always make a donation when you get there. It's a 1 or a 3 mile walk, and you don't even have to walk. I tell people if you're not someone who's able to walk, bad knees, a lot of that going around, we have 200 chairs set up. Just sit. We have the activities going on as the people are walking. There's a DJ, so there's music and stuff like that. So it's not about the walk. It's really about the awareness and the community support. So that this year we have Tony McCreaney from WNIS will be back as our MC for the third year, and he brings a lot of levity to it too. So it's fun. We try to keep it upbeat. Even though we have no survivors, we do have family that need our support.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's a wonderful organization, a wonderful cause. I hope people have learned a little bit more about the disease, and not only that, what we can do about it, how we can contribute, how we can come together as a community to support the families and the people who are going through this right now. So we've put up all the information about this year's walk on the screen, and also how you can get some help and information if that's what you need. So I hope you will consider coming out to the walk and learning more about Alzheimer's and the Alzheimer's Association. Thank you for watching.